Hey everybody, Matt Hartman here again for Drunkard's Walk. Thank you so much for listening, and a thank you to Jesse L.E. for our theme music and Nick Carmio for our artwork. You know, it's the week of Thanksgiving here in the U.S., and that means we think about all the things we're thankful for. And as you know, I'm thankful for you for listening, and I'm thankful for Jesse L.E. and Nick Carmio and even Jethro Nolan. Of course, a big thank you to all of our guests for being a part of our show. We really enjoy having them on, and if you would like to be a guest on our show, just fill out the suggestion form for a destination at our link tree. That's linktr.ee/drunkardswalk. Well, I hope you have a great holiday if you're celebrating, and if you're not, I hope you have a great week.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another exciting episode of Drunkard's Walk, the podcast. That's right, you are listening to Drunkard's Walk. You probably knew that already because it didn't just automatically come on. You had to actively seek us out. And for that, we thank you. And who is this we that I'm talking about? It's not just me who does this on a weekly basis. It's also my co-host, Matthew J. Hartman. Welcome, Matt.
It's me. Jethro, I've told you a million times, my middle initial is not J, no matter how badly you want it to be to match your first name. It is not the case.
Oh, well. I'm going to keep trying. Maybe I'll convince you one of it. Maybe that should be our bet for next season. If I win, you have to legally change your name.
No, I don't think that I can do that. Plus, it's canon. Don't you remember in the first episode of the season, Rick had two suggestions for us, one that started with a C, one that started with a J, and we went with the J suggestion simply because it was your first name and my middle name, and we gave it to you. So isn't that enough for you?
No, I have to dominate the entire world, starting with this podcast.
Well, you are starting small, sir, and I appreciate that. You want to build up and build up and build up.
Indeed. Well,
that's the way to go.
You know, I look forward to today's Wicca journey through Wikipedia, because that's what we do on the podcast, Matt. Right. I don't know if you've listened to our podcast, but we go through.
No, I haven't.
Wikipedia from one random page to another, trying to get there through the shortest number of clicks possible. We wager, we drink, we argue. It's a classic American story.
Well, I try to get there through the shortest number of links possible. You try to get there through the number of links that most closely matches your prediction for the number of links it will take us. So,
are you saying that I purposely sandbag?
Yeah, that's a good word for it. Yeah,
I feel like that doesn't match with the facts of who suggests the better links to go through. I feel like you're always going down rabbit holes trying to get us to connect through Star Trek in some way, shape, or form. And
that's
I'm
because well, first of all, that makes sense because everything connects to Star Trek. It's been around long enough. They've done enough episodes about enough different things. You can get there. You can get to anything through Star Trek if you needed to. It's like Rome.
Yeah, I guess it's tiresome. You need to find a new thing.
Do I?
Like if I were trying to get us to go through The Simpsons every single time.
Ooh,
come on,
that's good. You should try that.
I haven't watched The Simpsons in 20 years. So.
Yeah, but after the first 10 years, I mean, there really wasn't anything worth watching, was there? I assume. I don't know. I haven't seen it either.
Well, it's still on TV, so some people are watching it.
I guess that's true. I thought that there was a contract or something that they signed that kept them on. I didn't think that people were still watching. I thought that Fox had to have them on, or else they had to fold.
I'm sure that the James L. Brooks has pictures of Lachlan Murdoch doing something unsavory.
Yes, precisely. That's exactly what it is. Or perhaps they've signed some sort of deal that's got some sort of mysticism involved with it, and they'll turn into three goats and a toad or something like that. You know, that could be
that's also a possibility. Mm-hmm. And that's just the kind of quality thinking that Matt will display throughout the podcast, suggesting that we have three goats and a toad as a realistic outcome.
Can you guys hear me winking? I'm winking.
Yeah, you're winking really hard.
Wink.
Good deal. I heard it that time. But Matt, we've talked about possible connections, but what we haven't talked about is our destination for today, and we have none.
Yeah.
And I'm just flummoxed, and I don't know what to do about it.
Jethro, once again, you've made the fatal mistake of forgetting that we have invited a guest, and they are on the Zoom call right now, and you can see them. And so it's not that we don't have a destination; it's just that we don't know what the destination is yet because we have to talk to our guest, and our guest is Ryan Zlomek. Ryan, how you doing, man?
I'm doing just dandy. It's nice to be recognized. You know, I was worried that I was invisible for a little while, and I've been crying in the corner, but Jethro didn't notice.
Sorry
No, he
about
didn't.
that. I am immune to the emotions of humans, and also I was so transfixed by Matt's constant winking that I couldn't
Sorry,
focus
it's
on
my
anything
fault.
else.
Yeah, that is my fault. Ryan, it is awesome to have you here, man. We appreciate you coming on the podcast, and I want to say the word podcast as much as I can because I met you through our good friend and superfan Dave Foreman, who introduced us because I got to be a guest on your podcast, and I'd love for you to tell our audience a little bit about what your podcast is and that. Tell us about your podcast, man.
Sure. So my podcast is called Meditations with Ryan Zlomek. When I was in grad school, I studied documentary filmmaking and just got really more excited about getting to know people and ask insightful questions than actually making documentaries. So the podcast format has worked pretty well for me, but it's just a show about bringing interesting people on like yourself and having insightful conversations. So we had actually superfan Dave Foreman was also on the show talking about food. I had Mark Silk, who's the voice of Scooby-Doo and Shaggy in the UK and the voice of Bob the Builder, on talking about just like life in voice careers. I've had tattoo artists and business owners and just people from all walks of life kind of sharing their story in deep and fun conversations.
Wow, that's awesome. So how do you, I mean, obviously I know how I became a guest on your show, but how do you find these people? How do you get these folks to come and talk to you?
I mean, it starts off by just, making it to pseudo middle age and knowing a bunch of weird people and being like, I'm acknowledging that I know weird people. Let's give them a platform for an hour and a half. But it's a lot of just sort of, sending emails and meeting people at conventions and just random places. Like, for example, I'm broadcasting from Syracuse, New York right now, which is the home of the New York State Fairgrounds. And every year they just invite a bunch of really unique, like circus talents, essentially. So I'm always at the fair just like, hey, my name's Ryan. You want to be on my podcast? And just seeing sort of what sort of stuff will come from that. So actually this week I have to send some emails to like those people who probably promptly forgot me after I shook their hand, but we'll see if they want to tell their story and talk about being a contortionist or whatever it is.
What's your acceptance rate for like people who agree, the percentage of people who agree to be on your podcast versus the percentage that you ask?
Well, let's play a game called, it's only been going for about 4 months at the broadcast of this show. So right now I'm rocking a solid like 80 to 90%.
Okay, good.
Nice.
But I think I got my first like ghost response where it was somebody who's like, yeah, please email me and blah, blah, blah. And it was 2 weeks ago and I've heard nothing back. So it's now that I'm starting to get out of the inner circle of people that I've, got strong relationships with, the failure rate is going to skyrocket exponentially.
Gotcha. Yeah, we have a thing where folks can give us topic suggestions via like a form, right? So they can send us a topic suggestion, and generally speaking, not many people do. So listeners, please send us your topic suggestions. We will reach out to you and try to get you on the show as a guest. Now, I say this, we did get a topic suggestion way back in May, like early May of this year. And we got their email address and we got everything we needed. So I sent an email to this person and they just never responded. So Kevin, if you're out there and you hear me, we want you to be on the show, buddy. We really do. We are interested, but I sent you an email and you didn't write me back. So send me an email at drunkardswalkpodcast at gmail.com. Because I don't understand.
Kevin, especially since Kevin is no longer Speaker of the House, he's got a lot more free time.
Oh, I wasn't going to say his last name, Jethro. I didn't
say his last name. I just said he's no longer Speaker of the House.
You implied, and now everybody knows who it was. Well, anyway, Kev, you got time now, so you might as well. And sorry about that too, by the way. That was I'm not sorry because I orchestrated it. That was done by other people. But I'm sorry that you lost your gig. I guess we should still call that a gig.
Demotions are hard, like getting fired is one thing where at least you have a good story, but when it's like you still got to stick around and like, go to the crafty table and like have water cooler conversations, it's probably really awkward.
Yeah, I would agree with that 100%. Well, Ryan, this is very cool. And so if folks are looking for your podcast, I always say if they're looking for our podcast, find it wherever you find podcasts. Is that the case for you as well? Are you on all of the typical podcast platforms out there?
I am. And so it's Meditations with Ryan Zlomek. And if you type in Meditations with, you'll find a series of other people. I think I'm officially number 2 when you do that. You can also find The World of Ryan Zlomek on Instagram and Facebook. Or I have a unique enough name, RyanZlomek. You can just Google me and you'll eventually find it. And with the topic, not that we necessarily want to get there yet, but I'm really excited because we've got another person with a weird, unique name we'll have to spell out in order to make all this stuff work.
I mean, if
Excellent.
that's not a perfect segue, I don't know.
I mean, it is. Please, let's do it, man. Let's hear about this this topic, this destination that you have for us.
Well, I don't mean to be that guy, but do we talk about drinks first or do we talk about topics first? I don't know.
Jethro, point of order. What order would you like to do this in? It's a literal point of order.
You know what? I'm fine to talk about drinks first. I appreciate your enthusiasm for our beverage choices. So Ryan, what are you having to drink this fine
So
evening?
I'm really boring and I don't drink alcohol. And I was like, what can I bring on here that would like give me cachet? So I'm going to give you the long-winded answer, which is I'm a huge fan of Moxie, the first soda that was ever invented. They have Moxie Fest in Maine, and I ran their 5K this summer and all that stuff. So when I discovered it was bottled in Catawissa, Pennsylvania, which is like outside of Scranton, I went to pick it up and discovered that they have their own brand of soda as well, which is called Big Ben's. So we've got Catawissa's private stock, which is the stuff you can only buy from them, and it's Big Ben's orange cream soda made in Catawissa, Pennsylvania.
Very nice.
Cheers.
Well, cachet confirmed.
Yes, indeed. An orange cream soda, which is one of the Stewart's orange cream soda was the one that I think I drank a lot of back in the day and really loved. And Pennsylvania, I mean, that's where I am and where the podcast was born. So I say well done, well chosen on that.
Why, thank you.
What are you having there, Matt? What are you having?
What am I having? Well, Jethro, I'm glad you asked. You know, I have a bourbon tonight. I know that's not terribly surprising. But this particular bourbon is from the Ross and Squibb distillery in Lawrenceburg, Indiana. Mm-hmm. So it's an Indiana bourbon, which I'm not sure if you can technically call it a bourbon or not, but they have decided to, a straight bourbon whiskey called Remus. And this particular bourbon is one that was introduced to me by my neighbor, Jesse, and he got a sample of it through some amazing, this gift he got from his wife where it's like they send him a flight of whiskeys and then he gets to try them all and then he sends the empty bottles back and they send him more, and I just think it's amazing. But he was nice enough to share this one with me, and then the next week I went into the Fine Wine and Good Spirits store here and it was on sale. So nice. It was great. I really loved it when I first tried it and I still love it. It is not a super high proof like I'm used to, but I really enjoy it. So Remus, if you're a bourbon drinker, check it out. It's very, very good.
Did you try to give them empty bottles to see if they would barter it even lower? Like,
you know, I did bring them a bunch of empty bottles, but they were mostly medicine bottles. So I'm guessing that's why they didn't fill them. They did call the police, who I think have access to alcohol. So I was going to wait around, but my daughter wanted to leave, and so we did. And I just feel like she gets a little freaked out by a lot of noise and things like that. So we didn't stick around.
Don't embarrass me at the liquor store again.
Exactly, right. Yeah.
Yeah, so and I've heard that for the pill thing, I think actually having Xanax is probably a better bartering tool than the empty bottle. So I can understand that being an issue.
That's fair. Yeah. That's fair. Well, I left the bottles there, so I don't know. They'll have to figure it out. Jethro, what about you, buddy? You got anything in a glass over there?
I do. I am having the tail end of a bottle of J. Riddle, which is a peated bourbon whiskey that my wife picked up at Trader Joe's. She was at Trader Joe's and she sent me
Michigan,
a picture of their bourbon selection. See, in an enlightened state like Michigan, Matt, you can buy hard liquor at a Trader Joe's. I know you can't do that in Pennsylvania.
It's crazy
because of our arcane liquor laws there. But this is a peated bourbon whiskey, and I got to say, not a tremendous fan.
No,
I mean, certainly not as evidenced by the near emptiness of the bottle, which I'm about to pour out here, because I'm nothing if not thrifty. But yeah, the peated bourbon, it tastes a little more like Scotch, and there's a reason I drink bourbon and not Scotch. And
okay,
but hey, I'm gonna give all 750 milliliters a chance to win me over.
All right, well, good for you,
Jethro.
That's right. Yeah, he's not going to leave it unfinished. I enjoy the peatiness. I like the kind of that smoky flavor that gets. But I haven't tried that one. I don't know that. What's it called again? J Riddle. J.
J.
Riddle.
Riddle,
Okay.
and it's got a lovely picture of a handsome fox.
Oh, look at that. That is a handsome fox. Well, I'm going to have to check that out at some point because I do enjoy the pediness.
It,
All
it
right.
didn't. It did. Sorry, it didn't come with a storybook. I just feel like that's got like a little golden book
The
vibe
fox,
going on.
the J. Riddle.
There was a series of puzzles that I had to solve before I could open it, though. So that's
okay, fair.
like an escape room, but you're trying to get into the box.
Right. Yeah. We'll get Escape This Podcast to help you out the next time you get a bottle of that, because maybe that's how they stop you from drinking too much of it. You can't get into
They
that
have
second
failed
bottle.
if that is their goal.
Okay. No dice. All right, Ryan, let us get into our topic for the evening here. Or our destination, I should say, because actually we don't actually talk about our destination until we get there. So most of the evening is filled by other things. So what is it that we'll be headed toward?
All right, so we are going to be heading. Sorry, I'm not. You guys get the journey. I get to go make dinner. You're going to be heading toward Blake Schwarzenbach. Blake Schwarzenbach is the lead singer and guitarist of the band Jawbreaker, which is the band that some say arguably started the emo movement. But they're sort of a band with, I'd say, more than a cult status, but a band that's been really important to me. Just toured extensively from 86 to 96, toured with Nirvana, and had, similar to a lot of bands in the 90s, had a major label debut, and then it instantly failed and they kind of disappeared until reuniting in 2017. So Blake Schwarzenbach is sort of an interesting little cult figure within the punk and hardcore space. So I figured he might be an interesting journey for you.
Yeah, for sure. And you actually, I mean, not to give away information that you may not want to share, but there's a Jawbreaker poster right behind you right now. So that's no coincidence, right? I mean, you definitely you put that up just for this, right? I'm assuming.
Obviously, yeah. I hire an interior decorator for every Zoom meeting that I take, and this one had to go all the way to New Jersey to get that screen printed poster from when they played Starland Ballroom. So
Nice.
It was nice of them to do all the legwork, so I look like I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. You probably never heard a single song by these guys, right? And you're just like, but you're repping as though you have. Is that what's going on here?
That's 90% of being successful in business is just sort of making it up. And I figured, cachet. Yeah. All the listeners need to know that Ryan Zlomek is hip.
Yeah, orange cream soda and Jawbreaker that's gonna put you right up there.
Referencing bands from 96, definitely a good way to keep up with the SoundCloud movement.
That's it.
Yeah. Now let me ask a question. So you. And this will betray my terrible ignorance with regard to the boundaries of various music genres. You said they arguably started the emo music.
Yeah, how do I say this? So emo has a variety of different beliefs. I don't know. Culturally, like everybody sort of associates it with like major label bands that like sing and cry and whatever. But in the 80s and 90s, there's sort of this movement where it's more like being willing to spill your guts and be emotional about the things you're singing about. So bands like, all the emo fans are going to be like, this dude's so wrong. But in my brain, I've got like bands like Dag Nasty and Jawbreaker and stuff like that, were bands that were really kind of putting their hearts out there when other people were just singing about taking down Reagan.
Yeah, I guess I would, and again, this is not my, even though I'm of the perfect demographic profile to have known more about this, but I was listening to like oldies in high school because I was a weirdo. But I would think about like bands like The Cure or Depeche Mode or something as like more of the prototypical emo band.
Yeah,
am I way off there? Or
no, I don't think so. I think that's typically more associated with like new wave and mod, like that kind of movement, as opposed to like the punk rock emo movement, which was a little bit more like, it was still heavy. There's still like some aggression to it, but like lyrically, they're I don't know, not afraid to say things like love and cry and alcoholism or what you want to associate.
Right. There's some emotion.
Some of my favorite things. Yeah.
So, okay. So, and I'm sorry, tell me again. So this is the Schwarzenbach.
Yep.
Do you want to spell that for us? Make sure we got that right.
Happy to. So we've got Blake, Blake,
yeah,
and Schwarzenbach is SCHWARZENBACH.
I got so close. I put a T in there after the R. Otherwise, I would have been right on. And tell me again the years that they were. You said that they reunited in 2017. When were they originally recording?
Yeah, let me give you a few little like I don't know, pathways.
Yeah. Oh, sure. Yeah, that sounds great.
So we've so Jawbreaker, from what I understand, starts in 1986. They start playing in 1989. There's sort of it's hard to pinpoint whether they're technically a New York band or a California band, but I think they're more associated as being a California band.
Oh, okay.
And they toured extensively, like to a criminal amount of time, like in the sort of like 7-year span between like 89 and 96.
Mhm.
I think their album is one of their albums is called Dear You, which is that's their major label album that comes out in the mid 90s and tanks, and then is sort of the death of the band. One of the things that's really interesting about them is that I mean, I love that album to death, but people who were listening to that band, there was a lot of, are they sellouts? Are they going to this thing? And when the album came out and it was so well produced, people just like would go and see their shows and would just, when they'd start playing, they would just turn and face the back wall. So like Jawbreaker was playing to a bunch of people that were like, you guys are sellouts. We're still going to pay for tickets, but we're not going to watch you.
Wow, what a passive aggressive way to man, that's got to be a bit of a mind fuck.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts. So either way, the band breaks up in 96. He forms another band that was pretty popular that was called Jets to Brazil. Another band that's sort of associated with that sort of emo movement, a little bit more poetic. They're going from 97 to 2003. He plays in a few other bands that don't really have that cachet. And then the big thing is they oh God, what's the name of it? Ended up making a documentary just about the band, and there's a lot of like they'll never get back together, yada yada yada. There was always this huge mythos about them, and then they finally played again in 2017 at Riot Fest in Chicago and have been touring extensively ever since. Hence the interior decorator able to get a modern tour poster for me.
Got it. Okay.
Did they have like what would be the most popular song that they ever did? Sorry. My dog is tearing apart my computer setup. What was the most popular song that they ever did that maybe somebody would have heard of?
So they it was a weird one. So they had a song called Fireman, which came out. They made a music video for it. It was off that Dear You album, that major label album. And it's a song that's constantly referencing Ray Bradbury and Fahrenheit 451.
Oh.
So that has gotten that, how do I say that? I don't necessarily think it's the most popular song, but it's the song that that the record label tried to popularize at the time. Mm-hmm. They have another song called Boxcar, which is starts off with some of my favorite lyrics of "You're not punk and I'm telling everyone," and it's just sort of a fun punk rock anthem. And then sorry, there was a third one that I was going to reference, and it's totally fleeted my brain. But those are the ones that. Oh, sorry, "Kiss the Bottle" was like a B-side that had been referenced. That's and is oftentimes like the crowd favorite when they play.
Got it. And were they ever? I'm assuming the answer to this is going to be no, just based off of the reaction that their fans had to them even recording an album. But they were never like involved in any sort of soundtrack for something, or like, are there any movies that they are referenced heavily in, even if they weren't featured in it, but like the character is like a huge fan of that? Because I know there's a movie called Jawbreaker, which I believe has absolutely nothing to do with this. But I'm just wondering if there is any movie that they are somehow related to at all, or anything like that.
I'll be on it. I can feel a million Jawbreaker fans saying, "Ryan, do your research." And I will be honest and say, okay. I don't know.
Well, if you don't know, then I'm going to guess the answer is it's not. If it wasn't super popular for that reason, right? So that's good enough for me as far as I'm concerned.
I think I'm going to plead ignorance on that one. I do not know.
And good enough. And again, forgive me for the insulting nature of this question, but we have been burned before. Have you confirmed that Blake Schwarzenbach has a Wikipedia page?
He does, in fact. I have confirmed.
Excellent.
And I have reviewed it in your honor.
Excellent. That's good. Yeah. Okay. Well, this is going to be absolutely a challenge because, Jethro, I don't know if you remember how ignorant I was about anytime we had anything dealing with professional wrestling, but punk music, right up there, same level of ignorance as far as I'm concerned. So it is going to be a bit of a challenge, but we're gonna do it, man. We're still gonna find it,
College try, yeah.
I'm trying to think of other little things that might be able to help you out. Rob Cavallo produced their Dear You record, which he's also a big producer for Green Day.
Okay,
which is sort of I hear they're kind of popular.
I have heard of Green Day.
I have.
I've actually listened. I know Green Day quite well. Rob Cavallo. So okay, all right. Well, that's good to know too. I mean, I am actually, I never do this. I'm jotting notes down because I really think this is going to be a challenge for us. But hey, you never know. Perhaps we'll, perhaps the sacred cod was at one point blessed by Jawbreaker at some sort of event that they were at. I don't know.
So, Matt, I feel like this is our chance to redeem ourselves following our postmodern jukebox failure.
Yes,
because
it is.
the one time we didn't get to our destination in our allotted number of link clicks, it was for postmodern jukebox, which I had heard of. Yeah, and couldn't get there. So
Well, I had talked with superfan Dave Foreman about this in advance, and was like, "Hey, I got this idea," and he literally just started laughing. He's like, "Have you listened to the postmodern jukebox episode?" There it is. I was like, "I guess I got to get on this."
There it is. Yeah. Well, it's behind the paywall, unfortunately, so you'll have to become a patron if you want to hear that episode. But you can always do that, as can anyone who's listening. Head on over to patreon.com. Blah 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 blah. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, once those big royalties come in from Meditation with Ryan Zlomek, I'm going to use all of it to contribute to your Patreon.
I mean, perfect. Presumably you've been podcasting for 4 months. You're making bank as all podcasters do. Yeah.
So much street cred in my bank account right now. The Swiss are just over the moon about it.
There we go.
Well, Ryan, thank you very much for this topic suggestion. Thank you very much for coming on. We didn't even mention this yet. I am so thankful that you are here because we're coming up here on Thanksgiving. I'm going to make some joke about how Jethro's a turkey and how you made this great pilgrimage to be here. But we're going to make our own little pilgrimage from Sacred Cod onto Blake Schwarzenbach. And I know that we can do it, man. But thank you again so much for coming on. Anything, any last words you've got for our listening audience here?
No, I just want to say that, sincerely, it's an honor to be on the show. I really like what you guys are doing. You're frequently it takes me about an hour 10 minutes to drive to my job, and you're frequently joining me along the way, and making me realize that I spend time with people who don't verbally abuse me nearly as much as you two do. So it makes me value my friendships more, and I just want to thank you for that.
Oh, good.
That's my job, setting the bar low for humanity.
Oh, awesome. you gotta start working a lot harder though, Jethro. I mean, humanity's
humanity's really pushing.
Yeah, they're coming in under the bar. All right. Well, thank you again, and Ryan. Hopefully, we'll talk to you again soon, sometime.
Absolutely. I wish you guys the best of luck. I'm thinking it'll be less than 30 clicks. That's my guess.
I hope so. Thanks. We have a limit of 20, so if it's not, we're in real trouble.
All right. Have a good one, guys.
Cheers.
Take care,
Matt. Speaking of the number of clicks, we've got a number to write down here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm gonna write a number down, Jethro. I'm gonna do it.
Are you now?
Yeah, I'm doing it now.
Have you?
I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I'm scratching it out. No, I'm doing it. This is it. Yep, that's where we're at. Okay. All right, well, let's do it, man. Let's see what we've got here. He said he's got an hour and 10-minute trip to and from work, so we got to make sure we can get it in under that. But we're starting at the Sacred Cod. For those that perhaps didn't listen last week or have forgotten, the Sacred Cod is a 4 foot 11 inch or 150 centimeter carved wooden effigy of an Atlantic codfish painted to the life, hanging in the House of Representatives chamber of Boston's Massachusetts State House. So this is what we're going from, man. And we came in here through the... did we come in through the Harvard Lampoon? I don't think that we did.
No, we tried to come in through the Harvard Lampoon, but we ended up coming through Boston Brahmin.
Right. That's right. So Harvard Lampoon, though, is on this page. And for the first half of the article, or the first paragraph of the article, that's the best thing out. But I'm going to look and see if there's anything better down in through here, because there's a lot of stuff about.
I will say, so there is a link to Brass, because there's a fish figure displayed in the State House Senate chamber, a brass casting, sometimes called the Holy Mackerel. And brass, as you may know, is a heavy metal. So that could get us. All right. For the actual suggestion of where we should leave. Go.
Yeah. You have a better suggestion?
The actual suggestion of where we should go.
What do you got?
There is under significance, right at the top there, the last sentence says, in the late 1920s, an amusing, as author H.P. Lovecraft termed it, codfish emblem appeared briefly totem-like on Massachusetts license plates. So H.P. Lovecraft is linked.
Yes.
Now, he is a very influential science fiction author, despite having a terribly racist history, but is also the person who is likely to have been referred to in pop culture and possibly could get us to Ray Bradbury. So I would say H.P. Lovecraft will definitely have a long page with a lot of references linked there that we should seriously consider.
Yeah, I saw that as well. And I will say that having gone through the rest of this page, which is not incredibly long, and seeing links for things like, Adams, the Charles River, Cambridge, I'm thinking that perhaps you are correct in your idea here about H.P. Lovecraft. And I don't know for sure that getting us to Ray Bradbury is going to get us to this band. And thus to this lead singer, but I'm willing at least to give it a try. So
I love it.
Let's try it out.
It is.
Yeah.
Here we go. H.P. Howard Phillips Lovecraft was an American writer of weird science, fantasy, and horror fiction. He is best known for his creation of the, and I'm going to mess up the pronunciation, Cthulhu mythos.
No, that's right. Cthulhu is exactly how it's pronounced. Well done.
Oh, well, you would know, being the Satanist that you are.
No, I'm not a huge fan of H.P. Lovecraft, honestly, though I do know him mostly through games, like board games. In fact, you and I played a H.P. Lovecraft themed board game called Mountain of Madness.
Oh my gosh.
Together one time.
That was Lovecraft. I remember you handily beat me.
No. It's a cooperative game, Jethro. You don't remember it at all.
You still beat me.
I did. Well, that was afterwards, and that was
in my defense. It was New Year's Eve, and what happens on New Year's Eve?
There was a lot happening in there. So science fiction is linked, which first of all is a possibility. I also noticed that Chicago is linked. Now I know we wouldn't want to go through it, but he did say that the Chicago Riot Fest in 2017 is where they played together again. Probably not a way to go again because it's geographic, but it is in there. So just saw it and thought I'd bring it up.
Yeah, I'm sure that there's something a little further down that may or may not have like influence in pop culture.
Okay. I see Santa Claus linked on here. Do you think that he listens to Jawbreaker by chance?
It's possible.
Maybe. Could be.
Unknown
indeed. United States Army I see written on here. There's science fiction again, and there's a lot of links to stories that H.P. Lovecraft wrote, which I think makes sense. The gallbladder, of course, is linked because it looks like Susie his wife. I'm not sure. It just says Susie died in Butler Hospital due to complications from operation on her gallbladder. I'm not sure who Susie was because I didn't read very closely. So anyway, some sort of relation of his passed away due to gallbladder issues. All
right. So under the legacy section, there is a music paragraph here.
Oh,
which has heavy metal music linked. As well as rock.
Really?
And psychedelic rock and extreme metal. So this is proven very fruitful.
Wow, I will say so. That's really something. So which of those I haven't gotten to it yet, but which of those do you feel is the best path through?
I mean, and again, this is where my total ignorance of the boundaries of particular genres of popular music will become blatantly obvious. But I would say rock could get us very clearly into like a Nirvana or a Green Day. Heavy metal music might get us there. I don't know, like, again, my intuition about what emo is has already been proven wrong on the podcast thus far.
Well, yeah, maybe. I mean, we're not 100% certain on that. Is the impression that I was getting.
So I would say, I guess, never having heard the dulcet tones of Blake Schwarzenbach or the great band of Jawbreaker, I would probably say rock rather than heavy metal music.
Yeah, I think, and again, as I said, completely ignorant on this entire subject, because when it comes to music, I'm just not well versed at all. No pun intended. But I would guess that you're probably right with rock, just because I think heavy metal is a different is a different enough genre that rock is going to be closer to, because he kept mentioning punk. And I feel like if we had a link to punk rock in here, that's where I would go.
Yeah.
We don't. Obviously, we do have Black Sabbath. We do have Metallica. I see on here.
I feel like those are very much in the heavy metal camp.
Yeah.
When I think of punk, I think of like the Clash, like maybe the Sex Pistols, something like that.
Yeah, I think of bands that I probably don't know the names of because they weren't ever on the radio and they weren't ever anybody that I heard, right? So, or if I heard them, I certainly didn't know their names. So that's what I think of.
You think of things you've never heard?
I think that I can, yes, because I can understand abstract concepts, Jethro. And what I understand here is that there are bands out there that perform that type of music that I have not heard of. So do I know their names? No, I don't think of them by name. I think of them by the fact that they are an abstract thought and an idea. Do you see?
Right. Well, how satisfying that must be for you.
It really
shall we click
is.
on rock?
Yeah, I think rock is the way to go. Rock is rock music is what it's going to take you to.
We're going to rock this town. Rock it inside out.
Inside out.
And boy, howdy, is this a long page.
And I mean, that's not surprising at all, right? I mean, this is going to be a giant page. And in fact, maybe they're going to be on this page. I already see a link to post-punk. I see punk rock, subgenres of punk rock. I see all kinds of links out of here that are going to help us. So, but maybe they are actually, because is emo on here? Do you see emo anywhere?
I have not yet seen it, but I did just jump straight to the punk rock section. So
are they in there? Are they already listed?
I'm not seeing it yet. Ooh, there's a link to Christian rock, which reminds me of my old Methodist youth group days.
That's exciting. That's very exciting. Holy cow. Yeah, wow, look at all of this stuff. Post-punk, new wave. Now that was what he was saying. All the ones that you were mentioning seem to go to new wave, and that's not right. Don't go there, Jethro.
I don't know, man. Under new wave, there's definitely a lot of bands that I would have thrown under the emo umbrella.
Emo umbrella. Oh, like there's a whole umbrella.
Flock of Seagulls.
Okay.
Is there
really? Flock of Seagulls is emo to you?
I don't know. I don't know is the whole thing. We're trading ignorance on this. Dire
Straits, I wouldn't think of as emo, definitely at all. But well, one thing I will say here is that the punk rock section is short, and it does not contain a link to the particular band that we're looking for. So I will say that first of all.
I will also say things. This article has some amazing obscure band names that I've never heard of before linked here, including Throbbing Gristle. That is a solid. God, there's so much. This is a very, and if we were better informed people, we might be able to find what we're looking for. The Cure listed here.
Yeah. What I did find that there's a section called pop punk, where they mention the Buzzcocks and the Clash, the Jam and the Undertones, and they mention Green Day, which, if you recall, we were told that one of Green Day's producers also produced an album for Jawbreaker. So that may be the way to go, but there are so many bands referenced on this page. I have a feeling they're going to be on here somewhere. Just in some sort of reference to or relation to something else. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like they're going to be in a different section for some reason.
I mean, do you think so? It's possible, but again, like neither you nor I had heard of this band. And granted, that what does that say? Because
Doesn't mean anything
we both
to me.
have the worst taste ever.
Yes.
So it's certainly possible. Nirvana is linked on here. So I feel like that's definitely a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Jawbreaker, I'm not seeing it anywhere. And I'm in the early 1990s and late 2000s section here.
Right. Now, let me ask you this. Have you taken a look yet for Riot Fest?
I have not.
Because I wonder if there's a link to Riot Fest in 2017 that would absolutely, right? I mean, they would be included in that if that exists somewhere.
It's certainly possible.
I don't see it anywhere yet, but gosh, so many bands.
But basically what's happening right now is Matt and I are taking turns talking. Mm-hmm. And while one of us is talking, the other one is desperately scrolling the page, trying to find Jawbreakers listed here and not finding it at all. So yeah.
I'm also saying from time to time.
Oh yeah. No, that gives the illusion of listening, which I greatly appreciate. But yeah, I'm definitely not seeing anything. It's crazy the number of bands I've never heard of that are listed here, that some passionate music enthusiast was like, you gotta mention sorry, I'm just scrolling past a bunch of names of bands that I've actually heard of.
Yeah, see, folks, because what's happening is that one of us is just talking while the other one is just desperately scrolling through the page, looking for the name Jawbreaker, but not paying any attention to what the other person is saying.
I literally said that because you repeated it because you weren't listening. Now, there is a link to emo under post-hardcore and emo, which could theoretically get us there. But will it get us there quicker than going through Green Day or Nirvana?
That is Nirvana. Why would you go through Nirvana?
Because he explicitly mentioned that they opened for Nirvana on tour.
Oh, he did. Oh, I missed that. I'm sorry. I totally missed that.
Explicitly mentioned that. Yeah.
I did not. I said I was taking notes. I obviously did not write that down. Because I have the Green Day reference. I did not have the Nirvana reference. Okay. So interesting. So they opened for Nirvana. They had the same producer as Green Day, but they are arguably the first band that did emo. That sounds wrong. However you cut it.
I say that we take a leap of faith and trust Ryan's categorization of emo more than mine, and we click on the emo link and hope to God that they're there.
I see. Okay, now hold on. Before we do that, if we go through emo and they're not there, where will we go? Right. So
we will click on another link on the emo page.
Thank you. But I'm trying to think about it. Right. So if we go through like Nirvana and they're not on the Nirvana page, I bet we could find links to emo or Green Day on that page. And the same could probably be said if we go to the Green Day page. If we go to the emo page, will the same thing be true? That we could get into, or should we just go to punk rock? I mean, punk rock is linked on here too.
But I feel like emo is what we're trying to do is we're on rock music right now. We want to narrow down the world of possibilities to get to something that explicitly mentions Jawbreaker. And I feel like punk rock, again, he didn't say that they were arguably the founders of punk rock. He said that they were arguably the founders of emo.
Yeah, okay. But I mean, he mentioned punk rock quite a bit. Did. Like he said that there was the boxcar, like, saying about how you're punk and you're not. And
Matt, I feel like this is,
all right. Look, if you want to go through
leap and the net will appear.
All right. You want to go through emo?
Let's go through it. So it is under the early 1990s.
I found it. It's at the very top.
I'm telling it for the listener, Matt.
The listener doesn't
care.
The
listener.
They're not following along that closely.
They absolutely are.
Jethro!
Are you ahead? Have you gotten ahead?
They're right here at the top of the page.
Oh my God. Where? When? Why?
Emo was adopted and reinvented by alternative rock, indie rock, punk rock, and pop punk bands, including Sunny Day Real Estate, Jawbreaker, Captain Jazz, and Jimmy Eat World.
Wow. By the 1990s, Braid, The Promise Ring, and the Get Up Kids emerged from Midwest emo. Oh my God. I've never heard of any of these bands.
No. Well, I know Sunny Day Real Estate and I know Jimmy Eat World.
Well, there you go.
They're both bands I've heard
do
of,
we
but
wanna
there it
see
is.
If do we want to see if Blake Schwarzenbach is mentioned on this page? Because remember, Jawbreaker is not our destination.
Not where we're going.
Blake
No, I
Schwarzenbach
understand.
is our destination.
Yeah. Sure. I bet they are. I mean, I bet he is. Not they are. That's not what I tried to say.
We don't know his pronouns.
Fair enough.
Jawbreaker is definitely linked here.
Yes, for sure.
Again, under 1991 to 1994 reinvention.
Oh, and that's where
Blake Schwarzenbach.
Oh yes, there he is.
There he is. Guitarist Blake Schwarzenbach focused his lyrics on personal, immediate topics, often taken from his journal.
There it is.
Holy
All right.
shit.
We found him. Unbelievable.
Record time.
That's true. I really, didn't see that coming, which, folks, you know what that's going to mean for me. But anyway, Blake Schwarzenbach, Alexander Blake Schwarzenbach, to be clear, not a super long page that we'll be leaving next week, but fine way to get here because, Jethro, that only took us 4 links to get here.
I got to tell you, Matt, I carried the scars of Postmodern Jukebox with me emotionally into this journey.
Yeah.
And that has affected my guess. So I'm going to let you reveal first.
No, I want you to reveal first this time.
All right. I guessed 7.
Oh, fucking hell.
I guessed 7 because I thought it was going to take us a lot longer. And I'm guessing by your...
I guess 8. Son of a bitch. God damn, Jethro. Oh.
I don't love winning. I just love your anger.
I hate it so much. It makes me feel lousy. Seriously, for days, I feel miserable about it. God, 7. How did you get? Why didn't you? We took a 7 last week, and it was a normal. Why would you guess more than you could have guessed?
Wow.
Did any of that come across, or did it all get?
No. It descended into in noise.
Oh, you didn't hear any of that? Oh, okay. Well, I hope that you got the point, which is I love you, buddy. I really do. Oh.
I love you too, Matt.
But I hate this. I hate this whole thing. So you are now ahead 5-1. So is the season? No, it's not quite over.
Matt,
still a chance, I guess.
Why do you accuse me of cheating? That always...
Oh, I'm not. I'm sorry. I'm not accusing you of cheating. No. You didn't. Listen, all the accusing of cheating is done completely in jest. My passion about angrily losing every single season, that's real. That's all real. None of that's made up. I bring that from the heart.
But this is also like the only game of any kind where I beat you on a regular basis. Like we play poker periodically, and you are routinely...
That's not always true.
No, but you definitely. I have. Listen, I got the spreadsheet to prove it. You are definitely the more frequent winner of that game. And every board game we play and every escape room we go to, you wipe the floor with me. So
no, it's the constant losing, right? If it was like go back and forth, or maybe you won more often than I did, that would be fine. I have never won, Jethro. And I am so passionate about it. And it just seeing this, like it's insurmountable. It feels like the odds that I'm gonna catch up to you are so low at this point that I feel defeated.
But a lot of those were ties that carried over into the next episode.
And that's how it works, man. That's how the game works. I was so hopeful. I was so hopeful that you also wrote 8 so that it would carry over. So hopeful.
Matt, first of all, have you considered just guessing better?
I've tried it, but it didn't work.
So here's a little piece of advice.
Okay, go ahead.
I want to give yourself
go ahead.
Assume that your instincts are wrong.
Right.
And whatever number you want to write down, make sure you don't write that number down, and make sure you write down a number that's different from that.
But which way?
I'll say this.
Yep.
I suspect if we went back and listened to the episodes that I guess lower than you do.
I think all the time. Yeah, I think that's always true.
So I
should always go a little bit lower than I think.
Yeah, I think you should take whatever you think is the right guess and subtract 1 or 2 from it.
Okay.
And then
there you go.
You'll be
all
easy
right.
going.
I'm going to give that a try next week.
All right, then.
We're going to try that out. And folks, if you want to see if it works, you're going to have to listen and find out. But in the meantime, I hope that if you celebrate Thanksgiving, that you have a wonderful one. I hope you eat whatever food it is you enjoy eating on Thanksgiving. And if you don't eat food, I hope you enjoy hearing about other people doing it, because they're going to tell you about it for sure.
For all the plants out there who enjoy this podcast.
I mean, for all of you that just use the sun and carbon
Photosynthesize
dioxide and water to make your own glucose,
you go.
I say good for you, and thanks for you, and thanks for you, Jethro, and thanks for doing this, and thanks for being a great podcast co-host with me.
Well, thank you, Matt. It's always a delight, and it's great to have wonderful guests like Ryan and wonderful listeners who also become our guests, and it's fun to do, and I'm very thankful for it.
Yeah.
So thank you.
We'll see you next week, folks.